Welcome to God Seeker. This is Elizabeth Fulgaro. The current message, Introduction. In small Northern California towns, in the Sierra Nevada foothills where I grew up, there were old tools decorating the walls. Sometimes rusted pickaxes, with their long curved heads and aged wooden handles, along with objects which looked like pie pans, but were not, proudly hung on Main Street storefronts and adorned their display windows. Passers-by knew what these tools were for. They were for mining gold, that beautiful, glistening, coveted stuff, which was sometimes found in nuggets for the taking, sometimes in flakes, and other times was locked away in rocks which had to be broken and blasted in order for the oh-so-precious metal to be extracted. The entire gold country was a region where streams trickled down densely forested hillside gullies from mountain heights laden with the snow which had been deposited in winter. The stream waters gathered and melded into rivers where the water washed repeatedly over the rocks. It was there that much of the gold hid. This was a beautiful territory, with a temperate climate where the original inhabitants, the Nisenan, for thousands of years had lived easily from what nature provided. By itself, the gold had no value. Its appeal was the worth and importance ascribed to it by our culture. It was in the southern fork of the American River, which was part of the Nisenan homeland, that the first gold was found on January 24th, 1848. Over the next 7 years, hundreds of thousands of money-hungry would-be miners from around the world rushed into Northern California and flooded it. Over 100,000 the first year alone. The desperation to strike it rich was so great that ships lay abandoned in the San Francisco Bay because their sailors had fled to the gold fields. The wood from the ships was then used to build some of the first buildings in burgeoning San Francisco. These miners were called the 49ers. Many gave up everything they had in the hopes of finding wealth. They were gold seekers. In the end, some of them found enough gold so they were helped. A few struck it rich, discovering more than they could ever want or need. Many more found nothing and were stranded in California, broke. Meanwhile, the land where they grubbed for gold was ravaged. The Nisenan native peoples were pushed out or died. Their populations were decimated and eliminated in a shameful manner from which they never recovered. The gold rush region in the Sierra Nevada foothills of Northern California is my heritage and home. It's where I grew up and still live. My town exists because over 150 years ago, people came seeking gold, hoping for lots of it, as the answer to their troubles. And it has struck me that ultimately it didn't matter how much financial wealth any of them actually found and accumulated. All of them died. They are dead and have been for quite some time. Their time for making a worthwhile contribution in this life is over. They're done. That is, unless along the way they found faith in God, began to follow Him, loved others as He would while they were here, and are now enjoying life after death with Him there. In other words, unless while they were living, they went from being gold seekers to God seekers. Hence, the name of this program. What happens when instead of being focused on elevating a life that ends, our focus becomes trying to live according to the desires and purposes of God from here through eternity? What changes? What stays the same? What can we understand more? What makes our lives actually become better? What is real? What is myth? Now, don't be tempted to think by this introduction that I am an anti-money sort of person. As of now, in the initial months of 2021, I have spent almost 40 years of my professional life serving hundreds of people in the field of personal finance. I understand the value of money, of gold. I do not discount the role it needs to play in our lives. However, more than a century and a half after the gold rush ended, it seems as if people still come to California seeking the same thing as before, even if it is in different ways. To acquire riches is the priority rumbling as an undertone of our society. Money, get more. Prestige, go after it. Rise to the top. Get what you deserve. Go after leisure, comfort, ease. This is the ultimate. However, when has money ever secured happiness? When has solely financial wealth or position ever delivered what brings true fulfillment? The idea is myth. Yet the gold seeker attitude remains, and not just in California. I am not sure we stop to think about it. It is so enculturated into our way of life. So what happens? What changes when we become God seekers instead? That is the thrust of this program, where every message focuses on some aspect of comprehending God better, of seeking to learn more about His way in all things, so that unbound from revealed lesser constraints of current culture, we can choose to enjoy greater freedom in how we live for God now, and hopefully have a greater, more productive, lasting, positive effect in community. I am not pretending we will find all the answers completely, but we will seek. We will wrestle with concepts humbly. Understanding full comprehension of God is beyond our grasp. But we will reflect and ruminate. God willing, we will grow. The goal is to try to go beyond quick, superficial biblical quips and platitudes, to avoid speaking Christianese, or better yet, to take phrases which are thrown about so easily by the Christian community and dissect them. What is really meant by these phrases, and how do they help? Oh, and for those who may not know, I am also a songwriter. I write musical prayers known in Christianese as worship songs. Because of the power from the vibrating combination of melody and lyrics to calm and open our minds and hearts to God, each message will conclude with a song recommendation to use as prayer. For the current message, a recommended song is God Seeker. Take a listen. Take a look at the lyrics. See if this song is a prayer which helps you where you are now. Listen to it. Listen again. You can find the song God Seeker on my YouTube channel. Just search under my name, Elizabeth Fulgaro. It is also carried on some streaming services and is always available on CD. These God Seeker messages represent a part of my journey to know God better. It is my hope that they will become a productive part of yours as well. Whether you are already solidly on the God Seeker journey or just considering beginning, will you come along so we can explore together? Let's finish with a scripture, a verse from the Bible. Jeremiah chapter 33, verse 3. Call to me, and I will answer you, and tell you deep and unsearchable things you do not know. Thank you for joining in. This message was sponsored by Eagle's Nest Foundation. Until next time, this is Elizabeth Fulgaro. I am praying for you. Listen to the song God Seeker and keep seeking God.